Hey everybody, this video is a little bit different. The first 12 minutes or so are the main part of the turn, and then after that there's 15 minutes of additional discussion of things that I considered while taking the turn. So if you're interested in that, then stick around and check it out. And here is the video. Thank you.
Red raids yellow and gets 8 resources. So I guess that's good for slowing yellow down, but now what is red gonna do? Destroys a mine. Destroys 2 mines. Builds a cannon. Builds a cannon. Adopts a mechanized army and it's up to 56. Takes reserves and reserves. Plays revolutionary idea. So did not take one of those leaders yet. Has a ton of science. So yellow maybe will take Einstein away, or like make it so he doesn't go. Anyway, develops monarchy, elects Churchill, uses Churchill's power to get resources and science, builds a rocket, also built an arena, plays reserves, upgrades a lab, takes tanks and patriotism, and adopts mobile artillery. So it's also up to 33. And unfortunately did not make Einstein fall off. I just needed to take one of those cards, but wasn't able to do it. So red can get Einstein. So red gets communism's also here. So 1, 2 develops it for 3. And then only has 4 left at that point. So it might not actually make sense to develop communism, because the actions to take it and develop it just cancel out at this point. Air forces showed up, unfortunately. And I left those reserves for red last turn, so now red has 8 resources to play with, unfortunately. So with 11 resources, what does red do? Takes Air Force, develops it, builds 1, so you would get 15 more, right? Yeah, 5, 10, 15 more, 71. What else is interesting about this? I guess we want fundamentalism to not show up, because red has just enough to get fundamentalism and Air Force. With fundamentalism, red would be at 77. So taking the fewest amount of cards here would be great. We need to get to a place to be able to defend. Although, do we? That's super interesting. So if we stay where we are, he can do an aggression, but he cannot do a war. And if he's going to do a war, he can't do an aggression. I mean, aggressions at this point aren't going to matter all that much. And he can take 7 culture. So we'd have to figure out what red would be able to take in a war. So what's our best sort of situation? So we're not the weakest, so we could do something. I think I want to play Impact of Wonders eventually, because that's 10 culture for me, at least, depending on whether I get another wonder. The problem with doing it now is that red has 2 events here. And red has a great chance of winning them with navigation, 2 spare units, and a bunch of cards. Red can't push the event out if he's going to do a war. I'm just afraid that whatever the event is, if it's wealthy territory, for example, it would give him a lot more resources to do bad things with. So I don't want to push an event out. I don't think I'm in any sort of position to do a war. No. So let's just see how strong we can get. So Manhattan Project is here. So we can get 13 strength by finishing that. 46, we still can't defend. We can do that. Although we've said that defending's not key. What aggressions could he do? So he could do infiltrate again. He could spy. Plunder, raid. Plunder, arm intervention. So an infiltrate would be pretty bad. Get rid of Bill Gates, which costs 6 culture and 6 resources. So it's not the end of the world. So for here, next turn we have 16 resources. So we can finish this tactic one time. That would give us 1 plus this is 2, plus the Great Wall is 2, plus 3 is 5 strength. We'll be at 54. And then we can do 2 air forces. Each of them gives 8. So 1, 2, 5, 54, 8 and 8 is 16, 70. So I can get to 70. Red can get to 71, 77. So if we did get 77, it'd be 12 culture swing. So, well, 24 swing. So that would mean I go down 12, which is 61, 49. He goes up 12, which is 57. 49 to 57. That's not the worst thing. And actually, if I didn't get stronger and I let him, I open up the door for an aggression, he could do an aggression and then not take any cards. Potentially. And then I would be a kind, I don't know, I mean, it might be a bad situation because then he might be able to get the war off next time. But if he didn't take any cards, that means he's not taking, he kind of has to take cards, right? And you have to take a government, you have to take air forces. In this situation, air forces is still 3. I don't know how much that matters. You take it, you develop it. You can't destroy much. I guess he can just get rid of his swordsmen at that point and build an air force with those. He might play 1 reserves, that's enough. So he's just enough to get that 1 air force out and declare the war. If he didn't take air force, then I mean, yellow might take it. You'd hope that yellow would take it, but yellow might not for whatever reason. So in this situation, we're going to draw 3 cards. We can play cannon. Well, so we have 1 civil action left. What do we do with it? Under the assumption that the age is going to end when he gets back to me, we'll lose our age 2 cards, which is organized religion and cannon. I think cannon's probably more important right now. There is a rockets out there, but I don't think I want to count on getting it. There are 2 professional sports, so if needed, I'd rather try to get a professional sports than a rocket at this point. So if we get cannons up, then there's a chance for 2 tactics, entrenchments and positional army. If we can draw one of those, we would be in a fantastic spot. We could, yeah, that would be great. Maybe just developing Cannon will make them double think. Second guess, I guess is what that would be called. So this is not terrible. Let's just go ahead and do it. End the turn. I still don't think we're going to play Impact of Industry, especially at this point. Okay, so fundamentalism did not come out. That's good. Revolutionary idea is there, and I think it's too far away for red to get. So I imagine an Einstein pick here. I mean, it makes the war a little harder if he's going to do a war. So you could take Einstein, do the war, then elect him and develop a bunch of stuff next time. Maybe. We'll see. It's exciting. This thing about not getting stronger, what would that look like? What would we do if we weren't trying to get stronger? Develop democracy, maybe? If we just like straight up do movies. So I'm not sure why this makes any sense, because he can still do a war. I think the goal is for red to be tempted to do the, well, it's that he can't do an aggression, so that he's going to do war. But if I'm going to do that, then I have to be able to like get to a point where I'm stronger and using all of my stuff already, only sort of using everything I have, all of my resources, makes me still not quite strong enough. So doing this doesn't really make any sense. I'm going to make a culture, but I'm going to give it all to reds. Like, that just doesn't make any sense. Like, you can try to get into... I just developed a lot of stuff. But you can try to get into something like this, so that we can copy the tactic. Mechanized army. We don't even actually have to even do tanks yet. We can just take it. And build 2 of these. So the problem here, I'm still 14 behind. But again, maybe that's fine as long as I can come back. So with Manhattan Project, I could get to 70, I think. That's what we said. So in this case, we would... I almost want to do this just because I need to use the military action. But next turn, we would build 1 tank. Actually, if I do this, I can't get Air Force. Yeah, that's part of the problem. I cannot also get Air Force. But if we're going to do it, we would get tanks. We'd get 1... Let's just see what the strength is. I don't have the civil action. So you get a tank, which is 5. Then you would go to this, which is 10. So you'd be up 15 minus 3. So up 12 is 53. And then even if you got this tactic, an Air Force, and you got 15 more, it'd only be 68. It's like, that's not any better. So we can take Manhattan Project and just not develop it yet, and then use our resources for other stuff. Like, we still probably want to put cannon out. Tanks we decided doesn't help. Let's see, how much science can I use? Of 23, we can use 11. But we need all of these resources. Military buildup would be nice, but we don't have the hand space or the civil actions, it would appear. Well, I guess we might if we did civil service. Then we could take it. That might be interesting. Oh, we have corruption. I guess we can upgrade that guy. Oh, we didn't get cannon out though, which, you know, maybe we just don't need. Just let cannon go. And then what happens? So this gives us an extra 5, possibly 10. So we have 30, 40 resources. Minus 14 is 26. And we'll get 3 pop out. So we'll build one of these. So we have 19 left. And we'll build 2 air forces. So, yeah, I'm sorry, I'm struggling to math and think about other stuff at the same time. So we'd have 5 more, so we have 8 more. So that's 44. Plus 16 more is 60, plus Manhattan Project is 73. So we get 73. And it would be 1, 2, 3 military actions. Should have 1 left. And I took 4 cards, so it's going to be hard to not end the age. I think we're going to have 5 here, so 2 and 2. Just one of them, either one of them has to take 1 card, and the age is over. So here he can either do an aggression and take 7 culture, or do the war. Assuming he has a war, I assume he does, unless he's just building up to one and just hoping to get the cards and hasn't gotten them. But if he does... So if he does the war... then I basically can catch up. So he could do an aggression and take Manhattan Project and get 9 culture for that. And if he does get 71, right, and I get 70, that's 6 culture. So that's assuming he does the war and everything. I mean, it might just make sense at that point for him to do in here, so I can develop this and get the 9 culture. Or he gets the 9 culture. So if I develop the 9 culture, then I'm at, just for the sake of argument, I'm at 57. And then he does the war and takes 6 culture, for example, 57. Then I go to 6 culture, I go down to 51. He goes up to 49. 51 to 49. So if I don't build it, and if I leave it like this, 51 to 49. If you just leave it like this and he takes it, then he gets 9. It's 48 52. Well, that doesn't make any sense. Makes more sense to just finish it. And I also get 2 points for the Impact of Wonders. He's holding on to these 2 H2 cards also. I mean, he could. I mean, it wouldn't make. I mean, he could also do Napoleonic, but that wouldn't make sense because you'd only build 1 Air Force. So it seems to make sense to just go ahead and do the plan.
Now I am become the destroyer of worlds.
We have 1 action left to develop. Yeah, it's interesting. Cannon, I guess if we draw the tactic in these 3, the cannon, we'd have 20, which is enough to get cannon and Air Force. You'd put 1, 2 on cannon. And what would that even end up being? So with this, it's 70. Here it would be cannon, which tactic with this one. Entrenchments would be 9. So you would get 3, 6, 15 minus 3, 12. So we're at 61 plus 5, 9, or 6, 15. So it's in the mid 70s. So it's definitely higher if we have cannon out there. Organized religion, I don't think it helps enough now. It just helps us so we're gonna lose 2 population and be kind of unhappy here. So somehow we're gonna have to find 3 units to put out. I mean, really, this might be. I don't have the resources to do it though, unfortunately. I'm not going to. I need all my resources for this stuff. So I'm gonna have to just kind of make a bunch of people to not be unhappy, and then I'm gonna have to make a bunch of people to not have an uprising. I'm kind of just having to destroy everything, kind of like he did. 1. So we're gonna lose these 2. I'm gonna need to get 1 here. 1, 2, 3. I can pull all those down. Impact of Harmony is gonna suck. It's gonna suck for him anyway. A lot less so for yellow. I think I just need to do that. When they can play Impact of Happiness and kind of mess me up a little bit. I will lose culture for that, but that's gonna have to be okay. So I'm only gonna have to bring down 1. Then the other 2 I'll be able to use, and then if I increase twice, I'll have 1, 2 discontent. So I have 0 on Impact of Happiness, I believe, compared to 8. I imagine red would be able to get more happy if needed. So yeah, it kind of goes back to this idea, if we don't develop that, then we can get these 2 out. we can do that. We don't need to. Because he gets 9. If he has infiltrate, he gets 9 culture for that. It's quite a risk, I think. But this is rough. This is a tough call here. Finish that.
Now I am become the destroyer of worlds.
Develop cannon. Got that. Maybe we need to do the lesson to defend. Well, and then, but in this case, it's a little less important because you can take Bill Gates. You can take 6 culture with infiltrate, but not more than that. So maybe here we. What does this upgrade cost? 3 to 5. Oh, now we can actually upgrade because now we have 2 here. If needed, we have 20. It's 14, 4, and 2. It reduces our strength by 3. So instead of 71 to be at 68. Helps with impact of happiness potentially. And it would just really suck then if we get the tactic we want after not having cannon now. I guess we could always grab rockets. We won't have the science for it though. So we would need 21. No, we would need 20, but we won't have it because we developed organized religion. So we just go with rockets. And we will have to disband things. And there's no impacts out there right now, so everyone's saving them up for the end, it would appear. So I think we just do this, and then we hit enter, and we see what cards pop out. Here we only took 3, so there's going to be 6. So someone's going to have to take 2 cards. Imagine they're going to have to. Not much else they can do. And I think that's the turn. I guess we wanted to upgrade this. We talked about it, but I think now we don't want to. So that now we can, because we don't have organized religion. So we can go ahead and just stop that aggression at this point. I mean, he's gonna do an aggression on yellow anyway, not on me.